Well, hello everyone and welcome to yet another Discussions with Dolf. And as usual, we're in a different location. Today we're in Paris, France. We're in the area known as Montmartre. It's where Sacré-Cœur, the fabulous cathedral, is. And what's interesting about this area is it's a very touristic area. You can see coffee bars and restaurants and everything all around. And it's also a very intense artist quarter. Lots of artists at work here. You might see that a bit later. And of course, the whole trick about being able to focus on something, being able to focus about anything that you're involved in, is to be able to keep on working even though there are all kinds of distractions. And on that topic, so many people get distracted in life, and with their money earning ability, they think that if they see something they like, they have to buy it. And yet I'd ask you one simple question. Things that you saw 20 years ago that you really liked and that you absolutely had to have, how much of that do you still have and do you relish? And I'll put it to you that many people think that they really need something and then years later they've forgotten about it. And let me put it to you this way. If you have $1 and you spend it on something frivolous today, you'll never get any more benefit from it. But if you take that same $1 and you invest it, then all of a sudden it's going to be different. Then it's going to be earning money for you forever. And that, of course, brings us to the age-old definition of an asset. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket, whereas a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. And in that sense, even buying art, unless you get pleasure from it. But in my observation, many people, when they're in an artistic area like this, they get absorbed in the energy of, I want something that'll remind me of my visit to Paris, or whatever it is, and then they no longer have any benefit from it, because years later, they just forget about it. It's in a closet, or it gets sold in a garage sale or a yard sale or something like that. Whereas if you invest that same money into an investment, then obviously it will generate income for years to come. Anyway, it's just a perspective I want to give you. But that's not the topic I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about, is it worth investing in a piece of commercial property? Is it worth investing in a piece of commercial property that's in a touristy area? And the answer has to do with, will it stay a touristy area or not? Many parts of the world are a tourist area as a fad and then it falls away. Montmartre, on the other hand, this has been touristy for decades and it probably still will be for decades. This is one of the best known places in Paris where people come, they look at the views of the city, not too far from here, you can see them stretching out for 30, 40, 50 kilometers. So it's always going to be popular. You'll always have artists wanting to ply their wares here. The cafes will always be full. The quality of the food may not necessarily always be that good because they're not dependent on repeat traffic. Every day there's a new batch of tourists that come in, and whether the food is good or bad, they'll fill those tables again with new tourists the next day. So it's one of those things where you've got to use your own jurisdiction and find out if that is in fact the right way to go. Often it is, because whatever makes something worth a lot of money today is likely to stay that way in the future. Wall Street in New York, for instance, some of the most expensive real estate in the world per square foot or per square meter. And the cap rates there are the lowest you'll see just about anywhere in the world. However, it's been that way for a long time and it's likely to stay that way. Whereas you take lesser cities, I don't want to name any because if you happen to live there, you'll think I'm picking on you. But they don't tend to have such low cap rates. In other words, people need a higher return before they're willing to invest in them. And that's okay too. But you've just got to decide at which point of the market do you want to be. And that's why with investing, there's always a trade-off between cash flow and capital growth. Wall Street has low cash flow, but relatively high capital growth. And then there are other parts of the world that have much higher cash flow, but much lower capital growth. So what is a good investment for me may not be a good investment for you, and vice versa. And the trick is just to know what it is you're after and be comfortable with that and act accordingly. Anyway, we have run out of time, but I think you'll agree that this is just a fabulous part of Paris and part of the world to be in. And I want to leave you with the same thought as usual, which is until next time, successful investing. Thank you so much.